2016 will be the first time in the United States history that a female will have a legitimate shot to become President of the United States of America. Hillary Clinton has secured the Democrat nomination to run against Donald Trump, the Republican nominee, in November. But who was the first woman ever to run for president? Some of you may have heard of the name Victoria Woodhull. She ran for president in 1872. She received the nomination of the Equal Rights Party. Among her platform, she believed in equal rights for everyone, not just rich white landowners. She believed that it should be everybody, regardless of race, religion, gender, or any other limitations that have been placed on people throughout history. She also believed in rewriting the U.S. Constitution. She thought it should be all-encompassing for all people. She thought it was just focused on a certain few, so she wanted to rewrite that. But was she a legitimate candidate for president? Well, constitutionally, she was actually ineligible. There are 3 qualifications to become president of the United States. The first one is you have to be born a U.S. citizen. So, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, he was not born a U.S. citizen. So, under the Constitution as it is currently written, he is ineligible to become president of the United States. 2 is you have to be a resident of the United States for at least 14 years. So, if you are your business takes you overseas, you've been living in another country for a number of years, you come back and then say, you know what, I want to run for president in 2020. Sorry, you're going to have to wait 14 years to meet that requirement. The third requirement is age. You have to be at least 35 years old at the day of inauguration. Now, Victoria Woodhull, did she meet these qualifications? Well, she was born a U.S. citizen. She met that one. She was a resident of the United States. She met that qualification. She was here for her whole life, so she met that one. Age. She was only 4 years old. That meant she was too young. She would not turn 35 until after inauguration. So she was actually ineligible to run. She could run in 1876. She would have met all 3 qualifications, so she could legitimately have run then. But she was also not on any recognized ballots. So how can you go vote for somebody if they're not on the ballot? Most people don't look at the ballot. So how many votes do you think she actually received? Oh, that's correct. 0. Yeah. She did not receive a single vote. This was the vote for her, besides everybody. Her vice presidential nominee. Now, can you imagine one of the 2 vice presidential nominees, Tim Kaine, saying, you know what, I really want to be vice president, but I think Donald Trump has a lot of good things to say. I really like him. Or can you see Mike Pence saying, you know what, I think Hillary would be a better choice than Donald. Can you see that? Probably not. Neither one. I'm pretty sure Kaine is going to vote for Hillary, and Pence is going to vote for Trump. Of course, I don't think anybody in the history of U.S. any vice presidential nominee has ever done that, but except for this time. So why didn't this particular candidate vote for it? Well, it was a man by the name of Frederick Douglass. You probably heard him. He was a former slave. He was one of the leading orators prior to and during the Civil War, abolitionist. He wrote several autobiographies. The first one was on his life as a slave, where he really went into detail about slavery. So after he became a freedman, he was going around the country talking about the evils of slavery and why it should not be legitimate. And he ended up becoming a statesman after that, after the war. He was a very respected man, especially in the Republican Party. So he did not even recognize his nomination. I mean, if he even knew about it, he never said anything. He was actually a member of the Republican Party. Not only that, he was an elector, so he was a member of the Electoral College. So you might think, oh, well, I know I'm slated to vote for Ulysses S. Grant, but I'm going to vote for myself. No, he voted for Grant. Like I say, he did not even recognize Woodall, the Equal Rights Party. So who was the first woman to have a legitimate candidacy? Not the first one to have a legitimate shot to win, but at least a legitimate candidacy. Well, we have to go 12 years into the future. After that, 1884. Woman by the name of Belva Lockwood. Now, that's a very important name because Belva Lockwood was not only one of the first lawyers in the United States, but she was actually, I'm sorry, the first female lawyer in the United States. But she was also the first female to argue in front of the Supreme Court. Nowadays, we now have 3 of the 9 members are actually women, but she was the first one ever to go in front of the Supreme Court. So that's really important. She was old enough, so she met all 3 qualifications to run for president in 1884. She was also on several ballots. There was a few states that put her on, but the problem was that some of them they ended up tossing out. Who's that? So she sued Congress to be able to get her name on there, have her votes counted. So she is credited having over 4,000 votes. Now that may not seem a lot, but you got to realize this is 1884. She herself is not allowed to vote, but she was able to get over 4,000 votes. So I think that's pretty impressive. I'm really impressed with that. So first female president of the United States to run for president, Victoria Woodhull. The first legitimate was Belva Lockwood. Now, Lockwood ran not only in 1884, she lost to Grover Cleveland. She also ran again in 1888. Obviously, she lost to Benjamin Harrison. So, if you like what I had to say, if you have a question or maybe you disagree with me or something, maybe I didn't say something right, just write me a note. I also appreciate it if you like this and subscribe to my channel. In the future, my next video, I'm going to talk about the first woman ever to receive an electoral vote. Thank you.